Good morning. Welcome to the June Compass Points. My name is Mary Copeland, the owner and founder of Compass and Clock. And this morning we are bringing to you a wonderful presentation by Amber Hasenpflug. And Amber is going to help us all get better equipped to have an online presence, whether it's for personal or a small business. So Amber, the screen is yours.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name, as she said, is Amber Hasenpflug, and this is the Beginner's Guide to Building an Online Presence for Your Small Business. And I bet you're wondering who I am and why you should even listen to me, which is, of course, an excellent question. Again, like I said, my name is Amber Hasenpflug, and yes, I know that's a unique one. I'm married into it. It's one of those I get to spell for the rest of my life. And I am the owner and operator of Pacific Creative Studio, located in Port Angeles, Washington. I'm of that generation where I grew up at the right time to have played outside till the streetlights came on. And I can remember things like Saturday morning cartoons and the original Nintendo and dial-up modems. In fact, when I started building websites, it was on dial-up modems. My dad was in advertising when I was growing up, and I sort of fell into marketing. Watching how other companies market their business is now strangely thrilling for me. I know my poor husband at least pretends to listen when I start analyzing commercials and ads. When the shutdown happened in 2020, I began to witness businesses closing their doors for good because they weren't getting customers anymore. And I was really baffled to see the divide between the businesses that were thriving and the businesses that were closing. The biggest difference was, of course, how they were able to transition to using the internet for their business. And I think it was quite a big eye-opener for people on how important the internet is for business and how to utilize it. I had to sort of give myself a reality check that not everyone knew how to give themselves an online presence, and that's legitimately how and why I started Pacific Creative Studio. So as a small business, you may be thinking that you don't need a website or social media. After all, you may not be selling anything online, so what's the point? Or maybe you don't think your target market is online. Well, even if you're not selling anything directly through your website or social media, these platforms can still be hugely beneficial for your business. Your potential customers are scrolling through their social media feeds, looking for services just like yours. They're carrying a computer in their pocket, just waiting for your business to show up. So an online presence can help you reach more customers. The yellow pages are beginning to go extinct, much like the pager. We have found more streamlined and immediate processes to communicate and find the information that we want. The majority of the population is now online. You will be hard pressed to find people who are not carrying around the internet everywhere they go on their smartphone. And while it may seem easy to see that people like the senior population aren't all online, the people who are advocating for them or will advocate for them in the future are online. So if you're only marketing your business offline, you're missing out on a huge potential customer base. Because according to a recent study, nearly 80% of consumers say they use the internet to research local businesses before even making a purchase. And online spending has been increasing year over year, to the point where their projected growth of what they thought would happen over the next 5 years in online sales happened all at once in 2020 due to the pandemic. With an online presence, you can reach more potential customers and make it easy for them to find information about your business. An online presence can make your business seem more credible. And I say seem because if you have lots of spelling errors or bad reviews, it will do exactly the opposite for you. And in today's digital world, consumers are increasingly skeptical of businesses that don't have an online presence. In fact, nearly 60% of consumers say they won't buy from a business unless they can find information about it online. Consumers have always done what they could to research before making a purchase. This is what made consumer reports and infomercials so powerful. People could see what a product would do and how it would help them alleviate a pain point. Now, with the internet, it puts people in more control of what they're seeing. People are gathering research online before making purchase decisions. So if your business doesn't have a presence online, over half the consumer population will rule you out. This means that an online presence can help your business seem more credible and trustworthy to potential customers. And an online presence can help you build relationships with customers. And I say can because it's all about how you use it. An online presence isn't just about selling products or services. It's also about building relationships with your customers. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter give you a chance to connect with your customers on a personal level. which can help create loyalty and repeat business. These days, people like to purchase from those that they feel connected with. Social media has been allowing consumers to build these connections with companies and brands. And of course, an online presence can help you stay competitive. In today's digital age, more and more businesses are going online. If you don't have an online presence, you'll be at a disadvantage against your competitors. An online presence is an essential part of doing business in the 21st century. So, why do you need to have a website and social media presence? Because by creating your website and social media account for your small business, you can reach more customers, build relationships, and stay competitive. So, now that we know the why, are we ready to jump into the how? I just get some nods over there. I can see you. All right, great. All right, so today I'm going to be giving a lot of information and make it as simple as I can while still leaving a little time for Q&A. Make sure you write your questions down as we go through so you can ask at the end because, like I said, there's a lot of information here and I don't want you to forget your questions. So here's a brief outline of what we're going to go through today. How to choose the right social media platform for you, because yes, there are a lot to choose from. We're going to talk about how to set up a website and what at the very minimum you should say on it. I'm going to tell you how to create valuable content for your visitors on social media and on your website. And I'm also going to give you my top 5 secret marketing tips on what I do to help my customers grow online, including the biggest and best tip, how to get found on Google, because everybody wants that, right? People want to know how to be found on Google. So with so much to run through, I say we jump right in with how to choose the right social media platform for you. Does that sound okay? Can I just kind of get some nods over there? All right. Social media is a powerful tool to reach new customers and grow your brand. It's hard not to hear people in passing discuss things they saw on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, right? I know you all know what I'm talking about. TikTok made me buy it. Did you see that meme on Facebook? Oh, I read this thing online, right? So with so many platforms to choose from, it can be difficult to know where to start. Which one do you choose? How many should you be on? Here are some things to consider when choosing the right social media platform for your business. First of all, who is your target audience? This is one of the most important factors to consider when choosing a social media platform for your business. Each platform has different demographics, so it's important to choose one that aligns with your target audience. And we're going to go through these demographics in just a moment to help you out. What kind of content do you want to share? Think about the type of content you want to share on social media. For example, if you're a more visual business like photographer or graphic designer, or you make a physical product, you'll want to choose a platform that's more visual heavy, like Instagram or Pinterest. If your business is more of a business to business rather than business to consumer, LinkedIn is going to be a great platform for you. And we're going to go through all that also here in just a moment. So the last thing you want to consider are, what are your goals? Before you start using social media for your business, it's important to have a clear idea of what your goals are. Do you want to use social media to drive traffic to your website? Do you want to use it to increase your brand awareness? Do you want to sell your products or services? Once you know what that goal is, you can choose a platform that's going to help you achieve it. All right, I'm going to give you a social media platform crash course here. I promise not to give you a test at the end of this, but I do want to talk about social media because it is important for business. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the most popular social media platforms. And I want to let you know right now, you do not have to be on all of the platforms. In fact, that's so important. I'm going to say it again. You do not have to be on all of the platforms. I recommend you choose 1 or 2, 3 if you're very ambitious. However, just knowing the 1 or 2 to select can be the key to getting your presence known by the people you want to see you. I want to run some statistics of the platforms by you so you know what audiences are there, and you can figure out where you probably want to put yourself so you are in front of who you want to be in front of. Also keep in mind that any of these platforms have advertising options. If you want to be seen by more of the people in these demographics, making a decision to put some of your advertising dollars into these platforms could be helpful. All right, let's start with Facebook. The average person spends 58 minutes every day on Facebook, and around 7 in 10 US adults, or 69% of users, 69% of US adults use Facebook. Next, Instagram. The average time spent every day on Instagram is 30 minutes, and 62% of Instagram users are 18 to 34 years old. And what about Twitter? Well, most of Twitter's audience is 25 to 34 years old. And most of the people who use Twitter mostly have a college degree or more. So if you're looking for kind of that more educated crowd, Twitter's a great place. We also can't forget YouTube, because YouTube is the world's second most visited website with 22.8 billion monthly visits. 81% of US adults use YouTube. How about TikTok? Well, 138 monthly active users are from the United States. TikTok was the most downloaded app in 2020 with 850 million downloads. And for the record, none of those users are from China because they have their own version of the app, which makes those statistics a little more staggering. I'm sure you've heard about LinkedIn, which is the business-to-business platform. It's often used for networking and marketing to other businesses. There are 61 million senior level influencers and 65 million decision makers on LinkedIn. And who doesn't love a good Pinterest post? 38% of Pinterest users are 50 to 64 years old. That is their largest demographic. And 89% of users on Pinterest are there for purchase inspiration. I do need to mention Snapchat. The US has around 106 million users on Snapchat. 65% of US 18 to 29-year-olds say they're using Snapchat. So if you're looking for younger people, maybe like new employees, Snapchat might be a good place to go. So once you've considered all of these factors, you should have a good idea of which social media platform is right for your business. If you're still not sure, you can always try experimenting with a few different ones to see what works best for you, or you can always just stick with the tried and true Facebook. All right, that was a lot. Hopefully you're all still with me and that was helpful. Was that helpful? Can I get some nods over there? All right. Was there a big takeaway you got from that? If there was, if you would put that in the chat box for me, that would be great. I love to see what people maybe didn't know before, what their big aha moments were. So now we're going to take a small excursion. We're going to talk about your website, mainly setting up your website or setting up a blog. There's lots of things to consider when you're creating your website. So I'm going to break down these steps: your domain name, your hosting, what goes onto your website, and how to get it found on search engines. An easier way to describe that is if your website was like a store downtown. The store address is your domain name. The location of your business is your hosting. The store itself is what goes on your website, the content. And then the listing in the yellow pages is getting found on Google or other search engines, mostly Google because most people use Google. So let's start with a very important part, the domain name. This is the address that people will go to when they are trying to find your website. It's normally something like yourbusinessname.com. Sometimes it could be very advanced and have yourcitiesbusinesstype.com, like bremertonassistedliving.com. Once upon a time, this was a popular trick for people trying to get to the top of the Google search engine, but Google has stopped giving priority to websites like that in favor of better content on the website. So don't be worried if you can't get a domain like that. Important things to consider about the domain, though, are that you want it to be simple and easy to remember, so potential customers are not going, what was that website again? You also want it to reflect your business name or location if possible. You can purchase domain names a lot of places. I personally like to use Namecheap, but GoDaddy is a popular option. There's also places like domains.com, HostGator, Bluehost. There are seriously a lot of options out there. So just you can always run a simple Google search or just trust me and use Namecheap because I have found the best deals there. Next, I want to briefly touch on hosting, and hosting is important because hosting is where your website sits, where it lives. You can own it. Maybe you purchased or rented hosting when you purchased your domain name. Maybe someone else owns it. My company hosts websites for our own private server, for example. And if you're using a service like Wix or Shopify, they handle the hosting for you. Same thing with hosting your products on Etsy. That landing page is hosted by Etsy. Have you ever clicked over to a website only to have it give you a warning that it's not secure, also known as an SSL certificate? You need to make sure your hosting includes a security certificate. Google will not list your website if you do not have an SSL certificate installed. And Chrome will warn people your website isn't secure, causing people to never visit your website in the first place. It overall ensures that the data on your website stays secure, so it's important for both sides of the party.
Amber,
Yes.
go back to the last screen. I just want to make sure everybody knows when they look for a website, if it has the HTTPS, that means it's the SSL certificate. If it's just HTTP, it's not correct.
Right. And then there's also, if you use Chrome, there's a little lock symbol right before the domain name. And the lock symbol says it's secure. And if it doesn't show you that, it'll usually have like a red symbol of some kind saying, no, turn back, danger, Will Robinson. So, okay. All right. So you got all that established. You're building your website, or maybe you're assessing your current website. What the heck do you even put on your website, right? Well, there are 5 main things you should have on your landing page. Now, the landing page is the main page of your website that people land on when they get there. For example, my website, pacificcreativestudio.com. When you visit pacificcreativestudio.com, that homepage is called the landing page. On there, you should have a header, a headline and subheadline, a call to action, social proof, and your products or services. And we're going to dig a little into these right now. Not too much, because I'm trying not to overwhelm you, because I know there's a lot here. All right, so let's start with the header. I'm showing you examples from my website specifically because it was easiest to get screenshots. The header is what sits on the very top of every page of your website. It should contain your business name or logo, an easy to read menu of around 5 basic things, and your contact information, including your phone number and social media links. More than 5 menu items can be overwhelming for many users. You should have who you are, what you do, how to get your products or services, how to find you, and then some form of why it should matter to them. Case studies, an informational blog, a photo gallery, things of that nature. Your page cannot always be limited to 5 things, but that's the general amount that's recommended. You also want the ways people can connect with you at the top of every page, hence putting your phone number and social media links in the header so it's on the top of every page. Okay. All right. Next, the first thing to appear under your header should be a headline and a subheadline. This is the introduction of your business to the customer. You should use your clear and unique value proposition that grabs your ideal customer's attention. It should also be what the customer is there for from the customer's perspective. Then the subheadline goes underneath it, and it should be keyword-rich information about your company or information to support your headline, because this is stuff that Google's going to see first. So when people are searching for those things, you want your information to be in the running. An example for a caregiving company might be, let them stay where they're comfortable as your headline, and the subheadline right underneath it might be, our caregivers can give them help in their own home. So this is mine, for example, get the online presence you need, get new clients, more leads, and more sales. Your business is worth it. I want to speak a little bit more to the headline and subheadline because there's 2 very hard truths about the first lines of your website. I'm going to be very straightforward and honest here with a little bit of tough love. When your customer lands on your website, they want to know what's in it for them. You need to give them the reason, because in today's day and age, a customer will not care about your business until you give them a reason to. So because there are so many options out there, you should start with a headline that speaks about them to them. Try to avoid things like we, our, me, my. Okay. All right. So next, you also need to tell them what you want them to do. Do you want them to schedule a tour, call for an in-home assessment, call you, email you, sign up for your newsletter? You need to tell them what action you want them to take, and it should be clear and concise. Give them directions and put it near the top and near the bottom of the main page of your website. For example, here I have a button, it says get started, and you'll see it sits right underneath that headline and subheadline. Social proof. This is really important. Let me give you an example. If you go to Amazon and there are 2 products for sale that look exactly the same, but one is $14 and one is $11.50, but the $14 one has over 2,000 positive reviews, and the $11.50 one has like 20. Which one seems more appealing? Probably the one with more reviews. We care about what experiences other people have had. When we watch an infomercial about an exercise program, wouldn't you be skeptical if they didn't talk about anyone's results? If you went to a new hairdresser, wouldn't you like to see what other people's haircuts look like? The same thing applies to your business. The social proof could be customer testimonials you've gathered on Google. They can be case studies about positive results you've created for customers. Social proof is the selling point many people are looking for. And if you don't have it on your main landing page, the page people land on when they arrive on your website, you are missing out on an opportunity to showcase how freaking awesome you are. They are bragging rights, and you should absolutely use them. Last, you should, of course, talk about what it is that you do. This is a chance to use features and benefits of your products and services. It's important to use keywords here. When people are looking for services like yours, they're more likely using industry keywords rather than your business name. So let's talk a little about getting listed on search engines, because people are not necessarily going to Google and typing your business name to find your website, right? Chances are when you need to come up is when people are looking for services like yours. Assisted living facilities in Bremerton, caregivers near me, senior living in Paulsbo. Your services should be using clear language that people not in your industry will understand. They will not understand if you're talking about ADLs and DNRs, but they will understand day-to-day activities and care plan options. Unless, of course, you're speaking to the service providers themselves, then that language is helpful and will target more knowledgeable people. You just need to figure out where on the knowledge scale your customer sits and use language that applies to that. Okay, how you doing? Y'all still with me? Yeah, was that helpful? Did anyone spot something that might be missing from their website? If there were some takeaways, again, I'd love to see those in the chat box. So next we're gonna go a step deeper and talk about what you can do and talk about on your blog, on your website, or on your social media. So creating great content. The ultimate goal when you're creating your content is to create value for your viewers and your followers. You have a platform now and the world is your oyster, right? Well, sort of. Social media and your website are not really the field of dreams. It's not if you build it, they will come. Because as we said before, no one will care about your business until you give them a reason to. So you have to create content your followers and your visitors want. So I'm going to take a guess and you're thinking, well, shoot, how do I do that? Right? No, I'm not a mind reader. I just know that this is sometimes the hardest part about online marketing. So let's talk about the two things that you can do to build content. Start by answering questions. What sort of questions do people always ask you? I know you have a list in your brain. If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me about that thing, what is that thing? Answer those questions. You can also think about the reasons people are seeking out your business. How can I get help for my dad? Is it difficult to get a caregiver for both my parents? How can I make sure I don't work until I'm 75? As a bonus, if you're picking the questions people are actually typing into Google, the content may pop up. Facebook, YouTube, and your blog are all possibilities of coming up as search engine results. You can also talk about your business and services, but again, you need to make it about them. Quote, be sure you're taking care of yourself too, end quote. Or don't feel like you have to rush home from the grocery store because you're worried about mom. Call us and ask about our caregiving options. You deserve a break too. You can also overcome objections like, won't my mom be bored? And so you can create posts that immediately overcome that. Like, our residents love it here. Here's Joe enjoying some time out in the garden. Make it about them also by including them. It was so great to meet so many of you at the Business Expo. Thank you, Jennifer, for your great testimonial. And behind the scenes, man, people love behind the scenes stuff. Here's our staff enjoying some cake and fun at one of our residents' birthdays. Today, we're making a cake for Susan's retirement party. this is what it looks like when I'm pouring resin in to build this thing. Okay, now are you guys getting this? Does this make sense? Yeah? All right, now let's get to the best stuff. My top 5 secret tips to a great online presence. Before I go to the next slide, can you guys type in the chat box for me? How long do you have to get the attention of a potential customer in your website or in an advertisement? Does anybody know? And I'm trying to figure out how to pull up the chat box. It's not showing up for me. Oh, there it is. 8 seconds, 6 seconds. This is funny. It's actually right in the middle of those two. It's 7 seconds. Okay. The answer is 7 seconds. You have 7 seconds to get their attention and tell them why they should care. This is why the headline of your website needs to address this. And I don't think this information surprised you because you guys had a pretty general idea. So that's good. The next big secret is what I call a barrier to entry. Now, it's much easier to get people to click on a button and put in their email address for a free download or for like a $30 product than it is to get them to hop onto a phone call or pay you a couple of $1,000s. Most people are online because they're trying to get all of the information they can on their own until they have to talk to a person. People are afraid of being sold to and duped and ripped off. So if they can get the most information they can from your website and they feel like they are better connected with you, you have a better chance of getting them to take an extra step like calling you on the phone. Next, big tip, guys, using video. Now, I know video is scary. It's really easy to overthink it. However, there's this thing, it's super interesting. It's called the parasocial relationship. And this is what it means. When I sit down and I have coffee and catch up with a friend, certain areas of my brain are lighting up. When I watch a video and what that person says resonates with me, the same areas of my brain are lighting up. Your subconscious can't tell the difference between connecting with somebody in person or connecting with somebody over video. So by using video on your social media, your website, your marketing, you will create quicker connections with your audience and then grow the rapport with them, which makes them trust you, which makes them more likely to purchase from you over your competition. Batch creation. Oh my goodness. Batch creation is a lifesaver. If you use a content scheduler, and there are a lot of them out there, Facebook has one built in, you can create and schedule out your content for a week or a month at a time. Now, really quick, I know there's a rumor out there saying that if you use a content scheduler, your engagement rate goes down. That's not true. These sites like content no matter how it's being posted to their website. And content, if you get lots of content, they're going to boost it. Okay. So the neat thing about batch content creation is you can create as much as you want in advance. Just be sure that what you're posting is current and relevant, or you will lose your audience quickly. By creating in batches, it might take you a little more time at first, but once you get more comfortable with it, the process can go pretty quickly and you can get a week or even a month's worth of content created and scheduled out in just a couple of hours. Instead of every day going, I don't know what to post today, right? All right. Last but not least, let's go over the best way to get found on Google. First thing you can do is, as we talked about before, making sure that you are using the keywords people are probably searching for in your website title, your subheadline, and your blog posts. Blog posts will also help you appear on Google, as Google likes to see fresh content being added to websites on a regular basis. You also need a Google business page. It is important that you understand this is not a should have situation. This is a necessity. It is free, it is simple to set up, and it will help you show up in searches. Now, I have a free guide that gives you the step-by-step instructions on how to get set up on your Google business page. It's also been known to be called a Google My Business page, and also help you optimize your profile if you already have one. If you take your cell phone camera and hover it over this QR code, it will take you to the page that you can get my guide. You can also visit pacificcreativestudio.com/Google-guide and let me know which email address I should send it to. After you request the guide, it will take you to a page where you can request a one-on-one marketing strategy with me. It's free, and we can figure out the best steps and strategies you can take right now to increase your online visibility. And that's it. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it was a lot of stuff, but this is my contact information in case you have any additional questions or inquiries that we can't get to here in the Q&A, but I'm ready to open it up.
I think I would like to keep recording for the Q&A session because the people that will view this afterwards might have similar questions, but we could take it off the screen share if you'd like.
Absolutely. Let me do that.
Okay.
Chelsea, why don't we start with you? Do you have any questions? You're with Highland Court Memory Care, and I don't know what Libby does, but I'm going to guess all three of you are completely different businesses.
I don't have any questions currently. I think it was really informative and yeah.
Hopefully not overly. I know there's
No,
a
it
lot.
was perfect. No, it was perfect.
Good. Yay.
Libby, why don't we hear from you because we know what Rob does. You want to give us a little bit of insight on what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Actually, my husband and I are currently working on setting up a couple of small businesses because why not do more than one at a time? So my specialty is English language acquisition, focusing really right now on a market to assist in new immigrants to the United States. And so offering online, an online platform, a number of different actually ways to obtain that information.
Got it. So
Wow.
Rob or Libby, do either of you have questions for Amber? Did her presentation, like Rob, I know when we were originally talking before the seminar started, you were telling us a little bit about your business. And you have an Etsy page, but you don't have a website, I believe, correct?
Not yet. I'm looking into it. Go Imagine allows that. I can open up my own domain name through them. It's kind of unique the way they work, and that's probably the way I'll go. Even though it'll say, like for instance, Gripper card holders or Amazing Gripper card holders, it'll still be integrated with Go Imagine. And so I now have a Go Imagine shop with them. If and when I probably will open up my own shop, they'll actually be integrated together. So if I sell a card holder on one, it's noted on the other one and taken off. So I don't have to worry about two sites.
Nice.
So when that happens, Etsy's going to be goodbye. No more Etsy.
Yeah.
Questions? Right now at this point, I don't know if I can put videos on my Go Imagine shop. Etsy allows that, but they only allow it like 5 seconds. So I can't do much on there. So I'm going to look into that. I think that's a great idea, Amber. Because when I'm looking on a website, if there's a video that on something I'm interested in, oh, you bet, I'm going to check it out.
Yep.
And referrals, yeah, I'm going to try and get referrals on my Go Imagine shop. I got
absolutely.
million of them.
Yeah. Also, Rob, one thing that you might find to be a very successful thing for you would be, because you're making these things yourself, right? You're not drop shipping. If you did TikToks on your actual creation process, holy cow, Rob, because I haven't seen anything like your product anywhere. And I really think that if you're making, because one of the more popular videos that you find on places like TikTok are how to make, right? Or like behind the scenes. I'm dripping out all the stuff for my macarons. I'm pouring resin in for this keychain. Like just those kinds of videos are huge on TikTok. You could dominate very easily.
I could probably do that. For years, I was the only one making card holders like this for about 6 years. And then all of a sudden, if you, excuse me, if you search on Etsy for card holders, you'll see probably, I think there's upwards of 20 people now that make copies.
Mhm.
That just like the old saying says, often imitated, never duplicated. They don't make them the way I do.
Mhm.
Not sure if I want to get too deep into how I make these,
I wouldn't.
but I can do a quickie probably and just say,
Yeah.
this is how I make this, whatever. Yeah, I can give that.
Can you hold it up again?
Oh,
so we
sure,
can see it?
sure. This is just one of them. This is for the game hand, knee, and foot. I don't know if you know about that game.
So
Been a long
when
time.
you say card holder, are you,
Let me show
is it
you.
a deck of cards? Is it a greeting card? Is it
Playing card holder.
playing card? That's what I thought, a deck of cards.
Yeah, deck of cards. I'll show you. I'm going to put some in here.
And Amber, after he shows that, I would appreciate it if you just recommended, Rob, for your type of business, this is the one or two social media sites I think you should be on, and then
Yep.
say the same thing for Libby based on the little bit you know about their businesses.
Yeah.
So this is just a few cards in there. Now
Oh,
this thing will
okay.
hold, if you hold it like this, it'll hold a whole, you can get 52 cards in there.
I'd have to say that item is definitely in the wheelhouse for Compass and Clock
Yes.
audience. I mean, our audience is 40 and older, but my
Mhm.
dad's 86 years old. I have a friend, she's 77, she has arthritis. So people that love to play cards but have arthritis, oh my God, that's a brilliant product for them.
And
Yeah.
this is just one style. I have one that has a elastic strap on the back and it holds to your hand. It actually holds. So you don't, if you have problems with your hands, you don't have to worry about hanging on to the cards. This thing will hold on the cards for you.
Can you do one that just stands on the table? So you don't have to hold it and they can put their cards in it?
I have a little stand that holds these.
Good, perfect. Okay.
That's
So-
brilliant.
You covered.
Yeah, I
Amber,
think,
what's your suggestion for the two of them?
so for that one, TikTok would be huge because it really is a product that you have to like show
Yeah.
what it is. And then, I mean, Facebook is where most people are, especially in the adult range. So that's a great place to be. And really, I think another successful like side hustle / venture, if you did videos on how to play card games and you used your product in those videos on YouTube, those videos stay evergreen. Things on places like Facebook, they only live on the page for anywhere from
Yeah.
15 minutes to 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas content on YouTube is evergreen. It's not
Mhm.
uncommon to watch a video that's 2, 3, 4
Oh, yeah.
years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
So you
They're
could
there
do really
forever.
well with that. And
Yeah.
also once you hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you could monetize the channel, which means they show ads and then you get paid for the ads viewed. So,
Good
yeah.
heavens.
So just so you know.
Okay.
Chelsea, for you, really, you're probably mostly going to appeal to the people who are advocating for the people that need to be there. So that age range is probably right around my age range. And we're really busy on Facebook, I mean, TikTok is always a win-win, right? Especially because it's still growing, it's still learning, and there's a lot more opportunities there. But
Mhm.
also Instagram is a big one, especially if you do Instagram Reels, which then bleed over to Facebook because they're owned by the same company. That would be my recommendation. For you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would
Thank
say
you.
also for Highland Court Memory Care,
Mhm.
they do some amazing fun activities there. You know, it is not a community that you put a loved one in and they sit in a recliner chair and stare at the TV all day long.
Right.
They are definitely engaged. And so doing a little TikTok or some YouTube videos, you know, here's how you do tie
Yeah, I was
dye.
thinking, yeah.
Yeah. Especially as long as you have releases formed, like have them sign
Mhm,
releases
we
before
do.
they're, when you do their intake. Hey, when we're doing
Yeah.
our social media, is it okay if we show your mom, your dad, whoever? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Which I'm sure you do.
awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Libby, for you, I think, so interestingly enough, the majority of people on Instagram are from other countries. There's a much higher foreign percentage of people
Mhm.
on Instagram.
And I didn't give you guys much information. So to qualify, because I'll appreciate this input.
Yeah.
I view as my client base the organizations that are actually assisting people, my primary client base is the organizations that are actually assisting people as they arrive here.
Okay,
And, so at this point, that's my primary focus on from a client base perspective.
so LinkedIn then for sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, in that space, probably Twitter would be good too.
Yeah.
That one, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit harder to break into, but a lot of the people that you want to connect with are probably going to be there because they are in that college educated, more political, sort of
Mhm.
lawyers. A lot of them are on Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to stop the recording at this moment, so nobody needs to leave, but for those that are viewing this sometime after this moment, thank you for watching and feel free to register for future Compass Points.